Okay, so we're speaking to Oliver. Now, Oliver, what's your vision for South Australia?
There's a couple of things we really need to look at, I think, and one is the health of the community, and we've got this problem with young people, particularly young and some older ones too, really not knowing how to cook. And consequently they're just progressing to where it's easiest to go and relatively cheap into the fast food outlets. But if we could teach people that had time how to cook, we'd all benefit, because it'd help. It would flow right through to the health system, which we all understand and know that diabetes is going like mad. There's an opportunity here for some of the big food outlets to be able to get on board with this, and we saw recently with MasterChef how Coles have increased their turnover of food dramatically. But if we could encourage perhaps other people like that to take on people that didn't really know much about cooking and teach them how to cook, and then at the same time sell them the food, wow, we'd all be winners. There's a whole lot of people, and if you look in the sort of Salisbury, Elizabeth area, where a lot of fast food outlets are all joined together, people go there and the obesity level is, well, it's high everywhere, but there's an obvious problem area. I don't think anybody would doubt that. There'd be a lot of political correctness which would say I shouldn't be saying those sort of things, but where there's unemployment, there's very often the people have very low health understanding of health, and so they're not able to cook. So if we could say, and maybe first of all try to get people to voluntarily go along and learn how to cook, eat correctly and buy their food, and then save themselves a lot of money. We'd all be winning. So there's that little aspect of things. And then, of course, my favourite one is why on earth we're allowing any house to be built in South Australia, in this dry state, without putting a decent-sized rainwater tank in. I live at Armagh, just near Clare, and I've got two 5,000-gallon tanks. That's about 22,000 litres each tank. They don't take up much space, and I've never used more than one tank. So one's always just sitting there absolutely full.
Fantastic.
I don't have water rates, and I don't have sewage rates, and I catch my rain from the roof. And I manage it myself, and it works. Why we can't put rainwater tanks with every house, I don't know. Or have a community rainwater system that works, and there's a little community around here out of Warenda Road which has got community water, and they actually pump it up there from a bore, but there's community water and it really works well.
Fantastic.
And every house has this agreement, so they all use these things, but it's good.
Unreal.
Why we couldn't do that with a group of 3 or 4 houses and just stick the rainwater tank somewhere, maybe so each house has a quarter of the tank or tanks in its property, but they're all adjoining, those sorts of ideas. And my third most exciting thing is that we should really start looking at the way we're designing houses and move people up to live on the roof. Instead of living in a rather untidy little back garden where they could have their rainwater tanks, they all move up into their roof garden and have their lovely, like North Africa, but they live on the roof, and it's fabulous. It's a great idea. It's up out of the heat. It keeps the rest of the house cooler because they've probably got some shade and all sorts of things up there, and it frees up the land around the house for other things like vegetable gardens, or even better still, rainwater tanks. Big one.